we have arrived at tier 2. And again, all these decks are not really organized, they're just in one tier, in like one bracket together. And I'm gonna start off with DP, with, well, Dimension Police. And basically, the cards that I, as the player, value in that deck most are Laurel and Dragon, and then there's also Goken and Dayusha, because you use them to get a crit and the crossfight status. But sometimes there are players that will call their Gokens before they do the skill, so you can target them if you can retire a back row. But it's really, if you see Dragon, kill it. That DP players love Dragon, especially like when they use reverse Dayusha's limit break. You're gonna be like, your rank's gonna be like what, 1k, and Dragon's at 12. Yeah, that's big. And basically, DP is kind of like a mid to late game deck, because in order to set up properly, it does take a while. It only starts probably hitting you at like turn 3, which is more or less when late game starts, in my opinion. It's really hard to say when is mid game, when is late game in Vanguard, but you kind of have a rough feel of it. But yeah, just don't be afraid to rush them a bit in early game. Like first 2 turns, you definitely should rush them, and then they might start trying to plus from stuff like Die Brave. But I can't really do much about Die Brave. If they ride it, then they're gonna use it. But yeah. Next up, we have Musketeers. And one kind of basic rule that I have against Musketeers is try not to hit the rear guards. They have a lot of good rear guards and units that you can kill. But the thing is, they're just gonna bring them back, they're gonna put them back in the deck, they're gonna call them out again, they can regenerate the field so easily. Even if you Tempest Bolt them, they can probably get at least half of their field back in like what, with like 1 card. Like, it's not recommended to attack their rear guards, so just rush the Vanguard. They're worse on defense right now because they only have a 10k. So if you can make 20k lines somehow, then, you know, just hit that. Seriously, like, don't waste your time on rear guards, because they'll regenerate. I think that's why most people that lose against Musketeers are people that focus on the rear guards, and that's really not what I would recommend. Following that, we have Oracle Think Tank, and the only deck that I'm really putting in the tier list right now, even though a lot of decks are good, like Tsukuyomi is still good in my opinion, but Magus is the one that's been really showing its face this year. And the cards to target are Crescent Magus, Briolette Magus, and Stellar Magus. They have some insane combos with, I believe, Briolette, or was it Stellar? I can't remember the cards now, which ones do what, but those are the cards to target, because Magus has a lot of combos, which makes them plus like a bitch. It's a good deck, so, but if you shut down the cards I listed, then it gets a lot harder for them, so keep that in mind. They have a lot of cards that you should not shut down. Like Briolette is pretty important in my opinion. Anyway, moving on, we have Great Nature, and this deck, I personally love Great Nature, although I don't have an actual deck, but they can draw tons. Their break allows them to draw tons and also attack with massive lines. And in order to kind of minimize how much they plus, you want to target that Lamp Camel, because they don't counterblast pretty much at all, so Lamp Camel can just hit, draw 1 for counterblast 2. And then also Binoculus Tiger, that thing can grow really big and it can help the other rear guards grow. Then they have Tank Mouse, which they like to lock for Leopold Reverse, so you can hit that if you want. And then Coiling Duckbill is a card. They can't really do much about it. They're just gonna call and make a plus out of it, but it's a card to watch out when you see it go on the field. You know, you'll see that they're gonna start drawing a lot on that turn. And then finally, Stamps the Other. Kill that if you can, if they're dumb enough to actually call it in the front row, because otherwise you can't kill it, and that's a really important card for Great Nature. And yeah, that's about it for Great Nature, and I do have to move pretty quickly through these because I can't really spend too much time on each deck. And I keep hitting the camera because I'm good at this. Thanks, tripod. Next up we have Mega Colony, which got a really big update. After looking through all the cards, because I've only played against Mega Colony like once or twice after this update, you have to be really careful with the break ride. Cycloma Tooth is strong. It makes you not stand your Vanguard, and if they keep reusing the break ride, then that's really dangerous. Other than that, their units can stop you from standing your rear guards if they hit, for example, or if the boosted attack hits. But that's really not what you should be afraid of. With Mega Colony, you should be afraid of not being able to stand your Vanguard. So yeah, when you see Cyclomatooth, you need to start pacing yourself out. Think about if you can, how much pressure you can put on, and if you won't end up just being, if they're just, if they're not gonna end up break riding nonstop, and then you're just gonna be there not attacking and not getting any cards from your drive checks. So just pacing is essential. If you see that they didn't hit the Cyclomatooth and they hit their other grade 3, then just rush them, don't give a crap. They're gonna rest your rear guards, but you have your Vanguard at least. It's not as bad as the Cyclomatooth. Anyway, moving on, we have Angel Feather. Main cards to target: Nausiel, Daniel, and Sariel. Those cards are good. Nausiel can switch when guarding, Daniel can get Superior Cold, and Sariel will Superior Call, so watch out for those cards. Not sure what I would actually advise in terms of rushing or playing defensively against those decks. So I'll leave it to any of my, if I have Angel Feather subscribers or you have like a lot of experience with Angel Feather or against it, then just say which is better, rushing them or playing defensively against them, because I'm not exactly sure. I haven't been able to play against them too often because nobody really plays them too much in our locals until now. And next, moving on, is Murakumo, which people keep telling me like, oh, put it in tier 1, god tier, go, go, go. That deck is really good. Yes, 31k lines in each row is insane, but it literally can't do anything against Link Joker. Literally anything. And yeah, if you're, after your break right turn, if your Hyaki Vokes are getting retired and killed by your opponents, which you're going to be pretty defensive about, that's going to start going to hell because you can't do the 31k lands anymore. Yeah, most important card is of course Stealth Beast Metamorphox. That's the one that unflips. So that card, you can't really do anything about it. They call it unflips, that's it. And then a Borrow card, which lets them duplicate a rear guard, and then at the end of the turn it goes back to the deck. But that card is good, and yeah, this deck, I'd say it's really hard to say whether to play defensively or aggressively against it because I don't have good experiences against this deck. I would say just be careful when they actually hit their 31k line. So play defense, like let them hit you for turn 1, turn 2, turn 3, but then, or kind of like play defensively. So then when they do their break right turn and start hitting you for their 1k, you can take like 2 of those, and then the other one you can guard, and then of course they'll get double stand like every damn time. And yeah, so keep those stand triggers in mind because usually Murakumo players play them. And moving on from Murakumo, then we have Nubatama. Nubatama has a big chance, I think, if played correctly. It's just that it lacks a lot of cards and it doesn't have a big card pool. If it had a bigger one, it would be better. But the card that really annoys everyone is Stealth Beast Hagakure. It's a grade 0 that when you guard, if your opponent has less cards in hand than you do, then you have to discard like 1. And if they do that a lot, then you'll discard 4. So that's very fun. It can make any deck go to hell. Seriously, like it's good. It can make your opponent cripple their strategy, and it's a good card. Then you have Stealth Dragon Dreadmaster. You want to be careful when if they're boosting with that, you kind of want to defend it. Otherwise, time to discard. Then there's a Tempest Stealth Rogue Fuki. Snipe that if you can, because otherwise you're gonna get cards binded. Then there's Stealth Beast Tamahagane, which will make you bind, and then Stealth Dragon Kokujo. And of course the starter. If you have anything that snipes starters, kill it. Kill it now. Just get rid of it instantly. Because that thing is the main reason why you discard so much. If they boost with a starter and it hits, Soul Blast 2, and 2 of your binded cards go to hell, basically. So if you can hit that starter early, that's the best. Following that, we move on to Grand Blue, which is like the biggest surprise of the year for me. Like, how the hell did they top in Greece? But after looking, I guess my main cards are Ruined Shade and Skeleton Swordsman that are really important. But the thing is, with Grand Blue, I can't really tell you which rear guards to target because they can get brought back easily from the drop zone. Their drop zone is their second hand. So with what I would say with Grand Blue is just, God, stall them out. Let them deck out. I think Grand Blue is the clan that decks out the easiest, at least right now, with Cocytus Reverse. And so I think you either go insanely aggressive against them, like insanely, or just stall them out, let them do their stuff. Once they pass their break right turn, it's going to really slow down for them. They're going to start milling like mad. Well, depends of course on the player, but usually they do mill a lot. And yeah, just kind of try to stall them out. I would say let them deck out, just let them deck out. Try to stay defensive. And finally, the deck that I forgot to list in the introduction video, Tachikaze. That's also in tier 1. I'm not saying where exactly, but it's just in tier 2, sorry. And it's kind of hard to target anything because those cards also get brought back often. It's like you tire it gets brought back even if it's not in battle phase. So I would say cards like Ancient Dragon Gatling Garo or Ancient Dragon Dino Crowd, those cards can make a really big line because they get plus 5k. So those cards are worth targeting. And then be scared of Dark Rex because he's still played nowadays. So if you see them putting that Dark Rex in the bind zone, just watch out a little bit. And yeah, that is it for tier 2. I'll do a little tier 3 video and also like a summary of like all the other videos that I've done. So yeah, I'll see you guys at tier 3. Bye bye.